Hi, I'm Louise, the model maker here at Timbertips, and I'm going to show you how to get through some of the trickier stages of building the biplane. First important stage to take note of is on page 5. Sand this shaft first to roughen it up. It's really important you get a good glue joint. And put the glue on the shaft about 1 centimetre or so back, and put plenty of glue on and turn as you push it through so the glue really gets through until, as it says in the instructions, it's pushing through at about 1 centimetre. Then leave to dry for quite some time. Still on page 5, when this is dried fully, really wax the two surfaces of this block and the ends, but not this long end, just near the block. And it should be nice and smooth through there. If it's at all tight, because the shaft is a bit thick, sand that down to a bit more of a point, wax, and then try again. But it should be as smooth as that, and that's ready then to glue on in place.
1, 2, 3.
Another tip is page 7. Bevel the edge of this spacer all the way around with sandpaper and then wax it before sliding it on. Dab of glue and then push on. And then because that's waxed and beveled, it won't dig into the part it's going to have some strain against later. On page 9, before you push the handle in, do as I mentioned before, bevel all around the edge of that spacer and wax before pushing it through, and then again the next space you're going to put on, bevel around it, wax and push along, and that way, because this comes under some strain, the sharp edges will not dig in and cause it to bind. Next really important stage is the gluing on of this cam. It has to be in a very particular position. Drape this band, the shorter one of the two, over. Pull these two pegs out that you haven't glued. Put some glue inside there, and with that cam mainly facing down, glue that one so the peg is nearest to this block. Then put glue on these and it should turn like that. Wait for that to dry before you test with the band across, but that's to make sure, because there are points at where it gets further and nearer apart, and by getting that in the right position you won't have the band going taut and loose. It should be an even turn. Right, on page 13 is the propeller. This is the most important part of the biplane. It must be really smooth running. I wax the surface of that, wax that. I do the trick I showed you earlier about bevelling off and waxing there. Wax the whole length of that to about there. Push through and it should spin as freely as that. If it doesn't, it will not work later. Again, bevel the next space you're going to push in place and wax it. Push along without glue. Then put a dab of glue behind. Push that on. Another dab of glue. Push that. Now you've pushed it quite tight so the propeller won't spin probably. Then just grab it and pull. You'll feel it just give slightly. Then that's just right. And leave to dry. Right, there's something I do slightly differently than the instructions. On page 15, don't glue these two parts in place yet. First of all, lay them down with two holes at one end facing each other as a pair. Glue the two little pegs in, and then you glue these two blocks. There's an angle edge on them. Glue them so they're sloping like that, because then the wings are upswept when you glue them in place. So let the glue dry on there, and then glue the two lower wings. You'll want the flatter edge at the front, and I use super glue. Glue there and there, and glue them and leave. And then when that's dry, I'll show you the next stage to do. Right, with the aid of some super glue, those are dry. Now this, because you've got the curves going away there and the longer end here, that is the front of the plane facing you. Take two of these, some glue there, with the angle going forward, because the upper wings come slightly forward. Glue that and that in place. This is just so much easier than how it's described on page 17. So then take two of these blocks, and you'll see one angle on each of them. What you want is to carry on that upswept. So use the angle going from there upwards, because then when the plane is straight, that will allow that to be vertical. So put glue on the angled edge, and glue there. So again it's leaning like that, but then when you straighten it, it becomes straight. When that glue's dried, do the same again with the last two of these. Glue there and glue there. Right, now the glue's dried on those, you want the upswept wings. Take the final four blocks, put glue on the flat edge where the angle is highest, and glue like that, so that when that is vertical, that will follow the angle. So have a look again, it's difficult to see, but you've got that higher angle there going down. Put the glue on that edge. And there. You'll then get the upper wing following. And repeat the same going in the opposite direction on that side. And once that's fully dry, you can go back to where you were on page 15, but instead of just gluing these sides on, you're gluing it on with the wing attached. But just follow on now exactly as we were in the instructions. And again, I would put a little bit of super glue on there and just hold it for a minute or two because it's quite weighty. And then repeat with the other side.